Hey, what's up, guys? So we are doing a new Bible study series based off of the verse in 1 Peter 3:15. It says, "Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have." So we are taking raw stories, testimonies of how people's lives have been transformed by Jesus. And so today I've got Marcel here. Marcel's been volunteering with JSOF for a little while. He loves to skateboard and surf, and he's from Brazil. And we actually got to go to Brazil this was like a year ago?
Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah. And we got to go to a soccer game, a football game.
No, soccer game.
Soccer game.
Well, yeah, you play with your foot, so it's football.
Yeah. But that was really fun. But tell us a little bit about your story and your testimony. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, like Johnny said, I'm from Brazil, and I did not grow up in a Christian family. I grew up Catholic, and not really Catholic, just normal Catholic. Very early age, I got involved with riots, and that was really my thing. I grew up involved in the soccer scene. My whole family loved going to stadiums and attending soccer games, and I just had that passion for fights and for things that were not right, really. You know, just I loved being out on the streets with those 100 people, 200 people just rioting, just yelling, just screaming, fighting. You know, fighting the police, fighting people, and that was really a big passion for me. And I'm talking about 14 years old. I was really young, and I was already involved with that stuff. I just loved that. And then I remember going through that time, and I, you know, earlier in life, I had gone to church and I had received Christ, and you know, people had talked to me about Christ and presented me Christ, but I don't think I ever took God serious enough to just walk with Him instead of choosing my own desires. You know, and part of that was also that my family was really against me going to church, so that contributed a little bit for me to just choose a different road. And then, as I was doing the riot stuff, as I was smoking, and you know, I kept thinking about God and kind of praying my own way and saying, God, you know, there's got to be something more to this. And then after about 3 years of rioting in stadiums and things like that, I asked my friend who had originally taken me to church the first time, I asked him to take me to church again. And he did. 2 months later, I got baptized. And then I really started thinking more seriously about life and about God, because in reality, all that I was doing was really trying to be accepted and trying to find my place, you know. And when I was with the riots and with all that crowd, you know, I really felt that power. Like I felt that I was so powerful and no one can beat me, and you know, I just that sense of
When we were at the game, okay, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Everybody is sitting there, standing on their feet, like screaming for hours at this soccer game. It's crazy, and you feel like you get into it. You get into it a lot.
And it's really easy for you to feel like, yeah, man, like I'm the king of this place, you know.
Yeah.
But man, I just. There's no way to bring that home, you know what I mean? Like you feel so powerful and you're going crazy, but then you get home, you realize you're as empty as you've ever been. It's just like you're eating, but you're hungry all the time. You're never satisfied, and you got to keep eating because that hunger never goes away. And that's how I felt about it. You know, I when I was with my friends, I was hanging out and I was doing all that crazy stuff. I felt powerful, but I knew that I was living a lie. But it was a lie that I liked to live in for that little amount of time. But man, the rest of my life was just a mess. I knew it was. I mean, everything was a mess because it's just the way it was, you know.
Yeah. Well, so then you got baptized and you started going to church. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so that was a very important time for me because I got baptized not because I thought I was ready. My friend who brought me to church kind of talked to me into it, and I liked the idea, but I didn't think I was ready because I knew everything that I was doing. I honestly didn't want to let go of rioting. I really liked that. So I got baptized, and then I stopped the process of quitting smoking. So now I was like, okay, I'm gonna surrender this area to God. You know, it was really tough. My family didn't know I was smoking, so I was by myself fighting that. But then I surrendered that area, but the other areas I was kind of still holding on to, you know. And then, but a few months later, I was involved in church, and they invited me to play bass with them, which I didn't know how to. They kind of just got involved me in there, but as I got involved with small groups and things like that, I was so involved that I was like, I can't do both. You know, either I take God serious or not. And the Bible talks about the narrow path. You have to take the narrow path. And for me, the narrow path was I had to quit the wrong things I knew I was doing. And in that case was the rioting in the soccer games. I had to quit that. And in order for me to quit rioting, I had to quit soccer games. Because there was no way I would go there, see my friends, and not do anything wrong, you know. And so that moment I made that decision and said, God, I decided to follow God instead of follow myself.
Yeah. Well, so tell me a little bit more about now that you've obviously experienced some transformation, like surrendering some of those things in your life. What does that look like now for you today?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I was always looking for that power that I never really had, and it really feels like once I let go of the fake power, I was able to experience the real power that comes from God, you know. And I just can't describe how much better it is to just trust God, because they're not gonna be easy no matter what you do, no matter what you try. But man, when you're on the boat and you're going through the storm and you know that Jesus is there with you, you know that you're not alone. You know, my friends, when I was writing and stuff like that, you know, at any moment they would leave me alone. You know, if something happened, they would leave, and I'm by myself. I'd go home and I'm by myself. But if I know that Jesus is with me, and I know He has been, I don't have to fear. And even when I fear, He's with me, and that really gives me the courage and the strength I need to just keep going. You know.
Yeah, that's it. I know you've got a tattoo over here with
right here
Mark 4:35 on it, and you're talking about the boat and being on the boat, and that's what this verse is about. Like the disciples they're out on this boat in the Sea of Galilee, and there's like this massive storm that comes up, and the waves are blowing hard, and it's like they're gonna drown, and they're like, Jesus, you know, you got to wake up, and you got to do something. Like, we're gonna die out here. And Jesus gets up and He says, peace be still, and He calms the storm. And it's like that, like you were talking about, that sense of power, going from, like, you know, you go to the riots and you feel powerful, but you know deep in your heart you're like, I'm nothing. And that's how the disciples were feeling. They were getting thrown around by all these waves in this boat, and then, you know, Jesus stands up and He's like, let me show you what real power looks like. He says, peace be still, and the whole sea went quiet, like right at that moment.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's cool, and I feel like that represents our life so well, because when you're in the middle of the storm, if you just try to keep going by yourself, the more you go, the more lost you get.
Yeah.
There's just no way out. You're in the storm, you know. But once you cry out to Jesus, He's there and He can rescue, and He certainly rescued me.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Marcel.
Yeah,
for sharing your story.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for watching.
Peace.